Nous cessem, nous cessem, nous cessem. Ne pahe kwa we peso, kwa pema wakimusuma.
Indigenous people throughout Canada are affected by major health problems at rates much higher than non-Indigenous people. Some of the serious health-related challenges include high rates of chronic and contagious diseases and shorter life expectancy. In an effort to improve and promote health and wellness in northern Saskatchewan, the Prince Albert Grand Council is turning to their Indigenous elders for their traditional wisdom and knowledge on these issues in a new community-engaged oral history project through the University of Saskatchewan's Collaboratorium. One of the country's most serious health concerns approaching epidemic proportions is diabetes, especially in Canada's Indigenous communities. For many, First Nations are 3 to 4 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes than other Canadians. During the video interviews, elders from northern Saskatchewan speak to the changes of lifestyle that have led to its prevalence in their communities.
How about has diabetes affected your community in Sturgeon Lake?
Oh, it has affected Sturgeon Lake a lot. You know, when I moved to Sturgeon Lake after I retired here, I thought I was the only one that had diabetes. And I found out through the health centre there was 70 people that had it in Sturgeon Lake. So it's affected them a lot, you know.
Growing up, they didn't have processed food. They didn't have a variety of food. So what they ate, it kept them healthy. And now, not too long ago, they started getting food that's from down south, like, white man food. Since that's been introduced, and today it seems like the people are not healthy, and there's a lot of different diseases that we didn't hear about. A lot of it could be from the food that we're living on now.
A lot of foods we eat, the processed foods and things like that, contribute to it. Whereas a long time ago, maybe 40 years ago, I never heard of the word cancer or diabetes. It's a lot to do with the food we eat, whereas before we lived off the land. We ate a lot of fish, a lot of wild meat, and from gardening, organic foods. Where nowadays everything is processed, so that's why a lot of people are getting diabetes.
To better explain the complex health issues, elders talked about the intergenerational impact of the Indian residential schools.
So, a lot of the people my age, and the elder ones, they went through the residential school too. They come out of there and we all turn to addiction stuff to cope, I guess. So I think a lot of our young people today, there's that intergenerational aspect where the parents can pass on the way they were raised onto the children, so that the children that are having children now, they're doing the same thing to their kids.
Well, they were away from the parents, so the parents never had a chance to practice their skills, And I think a lot of drinking happened from there because the parents didn't have the children. They were in a boarding school. so socially, it affected the whole communities, you know. That was a negative part, I think. Parents and child relationships are so important, you know. And that was taken away from us a long time ago when they sent kids to boarding schools.
Okay, when we went to the residential school, where they made us forget about our language, our culture, and if somebody spoke a language, they'd get punished for it, you know. And then coming home, it was different. They forgot their language, and the parents would talk to them, and they'd answer back in English. And then that's how come the parents didn't know how to bring up their child, because she was in residential school, and they didn't know anything about parenting.
In their search for solutions for the health and related social problems in their communities, the elders looked to the past for models of positive practices.
My parents stayed together for over 50 years. And the way I used to look at it, they never had an argument. They never got into a fight. And they were very supportive to each other. And they loved each other. And there was no alcohol involved. And they used to work together, work as a team, helping each other. And my dad never used to beat my mom.
And for us, for the Dakota people, the Dakota men, they never hit a woman or slap a woman. Just like you're slapping your own mother, your own sister, or your own daughter, you know. So that's what Dakota men are supposed to learn.
For some elders from Wahpeton Dakota Nation and Little Red River, traditional ceremonies are an important part of the healing process.
When I came out of the residential school, I was angry. I was mad at the world. You know, I grew up, and I still talk about it to this day when I do teachings with young people. I was never told I was loved. And therefore, to this day, I still have a hard time saying I love you to my children. I never felt like I belonged anywhere. I always felt like I was an outsider.
Okay, there's one young man. He needs help real bad, but he doesn't have the courage to go on his own. But he needs somebody to guide him. But he goes to one of my nephews. He owns a sweat lodge. And he says, I need your help. And that's one thing about the sweat lodges too. If you go in there, it kind of cleans you out, you know. There's a good feel it cleaning you out, you know.
And they all used alcohol, you know, to cope. Until a time in their life when, and that happened to me too, when a time in my life where I started going on to cultural ceremonies. And when I found these ceremonies and the elders to help me, you know, I trusted them. I started feeling good about myself. You know, I started understanding where I've been, where I want to go in life, who I want to be. You know, I think about it back in those days in the residential school. And when I say this, I don't mean it with great disrespect, but the people that represented the church are supposed to be the people that are supposed to keep me safe, look after me. They didn't. So when I found culture, I felt safe in that area. I started to heal, going to the ceremonies, talking to people, a lot of tears. You know, I cried lots.
While each of the elders interviewed may have different spiritual beliefs and practices, each of them draws upon their ties to the land with knowledge about the traditional medicines used for healing.
So if somebody had a serious wound, like if somebody cut their hand open or something that would require stitches now, but in those days, if that kind of injury happened, they would take leaves from birch and they would chew it up and then they would place it inside the wound and they wrapped it. Either that or spruce. They took the spruce and then they chewed it up and then they placed it in the exposed, like the injury, and they wrapped it. That's how you stop the bleeding and it helped the healing.
Well, a lot of times, medication, we use a lot of Wheaties, muscate tea and Wheaties. They tell us that's a blood thinner and it helps with high blood pressure and keep your numbers down in regards to diabetes. Medicines, things like that.
By turning to their collective past, many elders say these teachings can have an impact today and into the future.
The children, they don't know anything about culture. That's one thing they should be taught, because everything's it's not going to be easy in the future. Everything's going to come back. Everything's going to get harder for the youth that are growing. And we are trying so hard to teach them, the young people, the young parents. They should learn from the elders to live off land. We would tell them how we live, how we used to live in the past, and how we live right now, from the past to the future. They're connected. To reconnect your past to the future. Just like tying a knot. It's like connecting that knot to the past, to the future.
For health practitioners and the people and communities they serve, the knowledge of elders should not only be treated as a memory of the past, but as a unique cultural lens that can offer a more holistic approach to Indigenous health and wellness. From this point of view, these oral histories are more important than ever before, especially for those who may never have the opportunity to meet and learn from these elders themselves.